What a wild election season so far, especially in last night's runoff for the 5th District U.S. House seat. Political newcomer James Langford topped former four-term state representative Kevin Calvi. Langford ran away with more than 65% of the vote. Now the question is, how does someone with no political experience end up winning by such a landslide? News 9's John Jordan sat down with Langford to find out about his political strategy. John?
Well, guys, not only was James Langford able to easily win last night's runoff, but he did so by being out-fundraised and outspent, instead relying on 21st century grassroots to make a name for himself.
I'm James Langford, and I approve this message because I believe we will never change the status quo in Washington by sending the status quo to Washington.
There's a good chance just a few months ago you had never heard of James Langford. But evident by the growing number of fans on his Facebook page, you do now.
We knew going into it we were going to have to encounter people in a way that didn't cost a lot of money.
Which is why Langford, who directed a Baptist youth group for 13 years, turned to his church as well as social media outlets like Facebook and YouTube.
That's why we're voting for James Langford.
That at the end of the day, the key feature wasn't the number of dollars that we had, as the number of people that we had encountered that believed in the same ideas that we believed in.
And to some who followed the race closely, it also had a lot to do with luck.
For folks who think this was not some sort of surprise, well, they're just not, they didn't read it the way that I read it 6 months ago.
News 9's political analyst Scott Mitchell says the current frustration with Washington favored Langford.
And this guy stood as the one lone outsider with no political experience, and, you know, it's the typical case of right place, right time.
And even though the race at times went negative,
Calvi's not being honest about James Langford.
More important than the attacks, Mitchell says, was Langford's ability to resonate with voters.
This was about likability, and James Langford outliked Kevin Calvi in this particular atmosphere.
And looking ahead, if history tells us anything, chances are good Langford will win in November. That's because it's been 36 years since a Democrat has held that 5th District congressional seat. Ed?
Thanks, John. In November's general election, Langford has 3 opponents, Democrat Billy Coyle and 2 independent candidates.